Alright, this is lesson 9.2b. We're continuing more expressions involving rational exponents, and there is example 6 on the screen. Alright, so what we're going to do here is multiply, and again use kind of like the FOIL method. We take this times each one of these, and then we take this times each one of these. So that's what we're going to do. Let's do that one first. And we have a to the 1/3 times a to the 2/3. So we take a to the 1/3 plus 2/3. Okay, because we're multiplying, we add the exponents. Now let's look at this one. That's plus a to the 1/3 plus 1/3, because we're doing this and that, and we can't do anything with the b to the 1/3, so we're just going to leave that alone. Okay, now we're going to take this and multiply it by the last one, so that'll be plus, and we can't combine them because they have two different letters there, so we just put them together like that. Okay, now we're going to erase our red arrows here if we can without messing everything up. And we are going to use yellow. And we're going to multiply this times this. I'm just going to put the a first just because a comes before b. And notice I can't combine anything because the letters are different. Okay, then I'm going to take this times this. Because it's negative, it would be negative a to the 1/3, and because my b's are similar, I can add the 1/3 plus 1/3 there. Okay, and now I've got this negative times this, so I'm going to put the rest of that, I'm just going to kind of continue it here, minus negative times a positive is a negative, b to the 1/3 plus 2/3. Alright, let's put everything together. That is going to give me a to the 3/3, or a to the first power. 3/3 is 1, so that's all I need there. This here I'm going to add. I'm going to get a to the 2/3, and then b to the 1/3. Nothing changed on the b. Let's make that a 3. And here, nothing changed. Can't combine anything there. And can't do anything with this second one. And what about this one? I can add my b, so I'm going to leave it as a to the 1/3, and then that b is a 2/3. And then I can add those. b to the 1/3 and 2/3 is 3/3, which is 1. So that whole mess is what I've got. Let's look and see if there's anything I can combine. I've got an a to the 2/3, a b to the 1/3, a positive, and I have a negative over here. These are the exact same. One's a positive, one's a negative, so I can cancel those. And when I look at the next one, positive, negative, so I can cancel those. So what do I have left? An a minus b, and that ends up being my answer. So that's it for example number 6. Oh golly, there's 12 examples here. Alright, so as we look at example 7, a couple things I need you to look at. I've got a fraction, and I've got this minus this all over this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split this numerator up, which you can do. I can put this over this denominator and this over this denominator. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to pause and do that and then turn it back on. Alright, so did you notice I just took this over my denominator? Oops, I left out a y, didn't I? And I put this part over denominator. So now I can cancel. Okay, so I can only cancel the numbers, and remember when you divide you have to subtract. So this will be 15 over 5 is 3. And I'm going to subtract my denominators. So this minus this, y, 1/3 minus 1/3, minus 20 over 5 is 4, x to the 4/3 minus 1/3, y to the 2/3 minus 1/3. So again, I subtracted exponents. Okay, so let's go ahead and do these. 3x 2/3 minus 1/3 is 1/3. 1/3 minus 1/3 is 0. So y to the 0 is what we've got. 4/3 minus 1/3 is 3 over 3, which is 1. And then y is 2/3 minus 1/3, which is going to be 1/3. Alright, let's clean it up a little bit. Y to the 0 power, anything to the 0 power is 1, so we can just make that go away. And we can make that go away because that isn't necessary to put up there. And we end up with 3x to the 1/3 minus 4xy to the 1/3. And I am going to stop there. We're going to stop at example 7. So 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 we're not going to do right now. I think that you've got enough to keep you busy and on top of what needs to be done. And we will cover those other examples actually in Algebra 2. So we won't worry about those right now because they get really, really challenging. And we'll just stop there. So that's it for lesson 9.2.